I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. These from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Piney Green.
What's goody, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back out again with a brand new video. And today, I'll be doing my day after the draft grades for each of the guys we picked up this year in the 2020 draft. As you guys know, as you guys should know at least, we went 7 picks, and every single pick was a defensive player, 3 down linemen on the defensive side, and 4 defensive backs. That's what's up. I mean, we obviously know that the biggest problem for the Panthers this past season has been the defense. We can talk about how Kyle Allen wasn't the greatest quarterback of all time. I think we expected that to happen. I mean, he was a first-year starter. He was a backup kind of guy. We did not expect to have, I guess, the greatest season of all time once Cam went down. The O-line wasn't the best O-line of all time either, but when we saw how we were getting gutted against the run and how the pass game was as bad, we saw teams who had no quarterback at all. I'm talking about the Colts and the Redskins kill us. The Colts scored 38 points against the Panthers. That should never happen to any team, honestly. So it was a really good thing that we saw the team go ahead and go after all defensive players. So I'll be going through each of the guys we picked up and giving my grade. I'll be using the CBS Sports Draft Tracker website. And you'll see there are grades listed beside these players from the writers of CBS, from what their opinion is of the player, the pick, and the team they went to. My answer might not be the same as theirs. It might be the same as theirs for certain picks. But I'm going to give my opinion and give you why I believe it. The grades an A through F, whatever the case may be. Let's go ahead and get started. Off rip, we already know Joe Burrow, Chase Young. Good picks there. Derrick Brown at number 7. This is the most controversial pick, I think, of the draft. I think a lot of fans thought we were locked to go after Isaiah Simmons if Jeffrey Okudah was not going to fall to us, and I think it was very obvious Jeffrey Okudah was not going to fall to number 7 in this draft. So I think most fans saw once Herbert went 6, once Tua went 5, and especially once the Giants picked Andrew Thomas at 4, we were like, okay, yeah, we have our pick between Derrick Brown and Isaiah Simmons, and we picked Derrick Brown. I think this was the smartest, level-headed move we could have made. Now look, Isaiah Simmons is a high-impact player who is versatile, who can play in different spots on the field, but when you think about what the run game was last year and who Kawann Short's been ever since Star Lotulelei left the team, he's been good but not great, not at the same level he was when we had 2 very impactful star-level players on the interior of our D-line. I think it only makes sense to get a guy like Derrick Brown, who's a double-team magnet, pair him beside Kawann, who is another double-team magnet. Any given play, one of these guys is going to draw a one-on-one assignment, and they are going to dominate that assignment. I have 100% faith in Derrick Brown. I'm not saying that Isaiah Simmons was a bad pick, but I think for what the team needs right now, figuring out a way to shore up our run defense was the best move to make. Derrick Brown is a difference maker. He'll help out Kawann Short. He'll help out the guys on the edge because there's going to be one-on-one matchups for the guys on the edge. You have to address the interior of the D-line when you have your blocking assignment set up, and Derrick Brown was the best choice to make sure our run defense was going to be shored up there. That's an A+ for me. Let's keep going down here. You can see that our second-round pick was also a little bit, I guess, contentious. You can say it was maybe controversial as well. We went for a defensive end, Yetur Gross-Matos. The man wears Crocs, so that kind of knocked him down a couple pegs in my book. I ain't gonna hold you, but the man does get production. He's not the fastest man off the edge, and he's not really a pass rush focused defensive end. He works really well with setting the edge and defending against the run. So I think doubling down on 2 guys on the D-line, that front 4, guys who focus on the run game, I think that was a really good move for the team. But I gotta say, this pick probably gets a B+ for me. I know at first I did not like the pick. I did not understand it. I came around to it a little bit more. But when you think about it, the 2 picks before us were Xavier McKinney and Kyle Duggar, 2 guys that I thought could have made a good impact on the team. And if you come down a little bit more, it goes to the Cowboys and the Bears. Yeah, Jalen Johnson and Trayvon Diggs were 2 of the guys that I would have personally picked between. These are the 2 guys who, if I had the phone to my ear talking to Roger Goodell, I probably would have chosen these 2 guys. But in retrospect, I can appreciate going for YGM here, making sure our front 4 is safe. I think that Jalen Johnson and Trayvon Diggs are number 1 corners. But when you scroll down and get down to our 3rd round pick, Not our third round pick, actually. We actually traded up to the very bottom of the second round. We traded Kyle Allen, basically, to move up 5 spots from our number 69 pick in the third round to the 64th pick in the second. And we got Jeremy Chinn, who is a very impactful safety. I actually really like this pickup. And it also comes back around to Yetur Gross-Matos because the defensive ends in this draft, it wasn't really a very deep class for these guys. It was kind of deeper in secondary guys. Obviously, the receiver class was extremely deep as well. But when you thought about it, there weren't very many defensive ends who were quality guys past the second, maybe even the early part of the third round. So picking up YGM there and then going for a safety who can also play some linebacker, but really more of a guy who shines in a too high safety look and you can bring him down for the nickel. I think that Jeremy Chinn was a great pickup. This is an A pickup for me. If Dave, Rev, Rule, and Marty would have let him slide, this would have been a B plus for me. But the fact that we actually traded up, we saw there weren't very many starter level, high impact safeties like a Jeremy Chinn still on the board. And we would have been risking maybe having him not fall to us. I think having the initiative to go up and get him makes the pick even better. This has to be a solid A from me. Jeremy Chinn is a good player, and we went up and got him. We were very proactive about it. I gotta say, this was a very, very good pickup. Not just for the player himself, but also for the way we went out and got him. Obviously, now we have no third round pick, so we gotta keep scrolling. And when we get to our fourth round pick, this is another one I like as well. Troy Pride Jr. He is fast. All right, like it says right here, he has first round athleticism, but like a lot of things we've been seeing over the past couple years, he has consistency issues. That's a problem for me. I mean, you know me. Look, I like having my defensive backs be 6 foot or taller, and he is 6 foot, and he has speed. We will have a track team in the secondary between Dante Jackson and Troy Pride, and obviously Troy Pride was on the track team at Notre Dame. Although I do think that Troy Pride was one of the better guys here, I might have gone ahead and gone for a offensive lineman here. As you can see, Ben Barch was chosen 3 picks after us to the Jags. He was in a lot of my mock drafts. Another guy I liked a lot who was in a lot of my mocks was Sadiq Charles. He got picked to the Redskins before us. So I think that I probably would have addressed the O-line. For Troy, I think I'm going to have 2 grades. In the context of going for all defensive players, I'm going to say A-. I'm going to mirror this draft grade from CBS Sports. But overall, I probably do give this a B+. Because I probably would have went ahead and addressed the O-line, and I would have looked at one of these veteran corners on a 1 or 2 year deal and find one of these guys, and we can address another corner either later in the draft or in next year's draft. We have a stopgap kind of guy, and we can have another tackle on the team because there are some problems on our O-line that need to be addressed. They're not as pressing as our defense, but they should be addressed because we have a stopgap guy at tackle for us right now as well. But I still do like Troy Pride Jr. And as a 4th round pick, you really can't miss right there. In the 5th, though, we picked up Kenny Robinson Jr., a safety who does have some corner experience. If you do not know this man's story, you need to look it up. Look up his open letter to NFL GMs in the Players Tribune. This man is mature. He's dedicated. He is motivated. I like what I see from him. He does have some issues with free roaming and freelancing. I think that's something that Trey Boston can help him out with, because Trey Boston, in his first stint with the Panthers, he had 2 big issues. One was freelancing, and the other was going for hit sticks when he could have just wrapped up guys, gotten tackles. He lost his starting role on the team 2 different times before he was cut. We brought him back. He's looked good so far. I think Trey Boston is the perfect person to help out Kenny Robinson Jr. Overall, I gave this pick an A-. I think B+ is a little bit low. I can understand it, but there were some other guys who I liked a lot in this draft in the 5th round who got picked very soon after him. Guys like Colin Johnson, the 6'7", 6'6" receiver out of Texas. I know we have a lot of receivers, but having a big body guy, not a lot of speed, but as a red zone threat and as a end zone threat at the 3, 4, 5 yard line, throw it up to him, front corner, back corner phase in the end zone. You really cannot beat that. Justin Strnad, he went very soon after him as well. He is a coverage linebacker who I like a lot. Doesn't really have elite speed. He went to the Broncos. Doesn't have elite speed, but as a prototypical coverage linebacker, I need that in my second line of defense, in my front seven. If the front four can't get to the quarterback, I need someone right behind them who can cover against tight ends, running backs on the backfield, and maybe the occasional slot receiver. I really did like Justin Strnad a lot. He was in every single one of my mock drafts, but that does not take away from Kenny Robinson at all. Then we get to the 6th round. Bravion Roy. Look, Rev Rule finally broke down. He said, look, I know I spent the offseason, I've spent free agency looking at these boys from Baylor and Temple, but I had to hold out to the 6th round to get my man Bravion Roy. This man is big. 6'1", 330 pounds. Hey, like I said in my video, breaking them down, exist in a gap. All right? Just exist in a gap and you will have impact. He won't be a guy who comes out with a bunch of highlights and whatnot. He won't put you on SportsCenter. But when he comes in and he spells for Derrick Brown and 2K Short, he will be noticed. You won't get a huge drop-off. And what you see, he won't get pushed backwards. He does have a little bit of technique issues that can, I think, be remedied and fixed once we get into workouts, training camp, whenever that's going to happen. We have to get that worked on very, very soon. But I think for a guy who's going to be coming on the field situationally, just spelling for guys when they're tired or whatever, Bravion Roy fits a need where you don't just address the starter guys on the defense, you need to also address the backups as well. And I think he's dependable. He has a history with Rev Rule, and I think he's going to be a guy who can help us out a lot. Now, talking about 6th round picks, grading 6th round picks, they gave it a B+. I mean, I'm going to give it an A. What am I going to really say here, huh? I'm going to say a low grade for a 6th round pick. This addressed a very big need for us, and I don't think I liked very many of the other guys who came after him. Not enough to say that this was a pick that I wouldn't have made. I mean, there are some luxury picks here. I did like Quez Watkins as a receiver. There were some other dudes that came after him. I mean, you can, I guess, say there are some other guys that we might have been able to, take a flyer on. But as far as getting a guy who I think will have a actual defined role that you can say he definitely will be needed at, we don't need receivers. We have 18 and a half linebackers on the squad. I don't think we should have got a linebacker here. Other than that, I'm cool with it. Then we get to Stanley Thomas Oliver III. That's a mouthful. I'm going to call him Stanley. Mama named him Stanley. I'm going to call him Stanley. This is a guy who is the definition of a throw it at the wall, see what sticks. He's a cornerback who was converted from wide receiver. He was pretty good as a wide receiver in high school. Only played one game in his first year at FIU. Now look, at FIU, they don't really play the hardest of competition, so we have to take that into account as well. But as a guy who's more of a raw prospect, as someone who only played 2 years at corner, had some decent production, but you can tell there is a lot of inconsistency. And the biggest thing about Stanley is that he does not want to tackle. He's fast. He ran a 4.48, but the big thing is if he ain't scared to tackle or if he ain't scared to meet running backs face to face, he makes it look like it. If you watch him play, if you watch all of his snaps, even don't watch his highlights, watch his actual game film on running downs, he does not make an effort to get to where the running back is. Even if you can't make the play, you have to be at least on the screen. Be within the frame. He makes a very, very focused effort to not get to the running back, to not meet up with runners, and that is a huge red flag for me, especially for a team that has had such big issues with not only the front line and not only the linebackers missing tackles, but corners, safeties, guys on the edge, not setting the edge, not containing, and not making these running backs bounce the ball back inside to the bulk of the defense, not funneling them back in. That is a huge problem for me. I know it's a 7th round pick, so I ain't going to, go too crazy and talk down on the man, but that is a big thing the team needs to focus on when talking about Stanley. He's an athlete. He is a project, the definition of a project. I give this Stanley pick a C. It doesn't really move me either way. It's a 7th round pick, so it's not really a big deal, but picking up a guy who has very, very easy to diagnose problems with even trying. Now, if you're an ankle biter or someone who does arm tackles, that's one thing. But if you show consistently that you want no smoke in the run game as a defensive player, That might work on other teams, but for a team that's trying to change their identity as a team that wants to actually have some sort of semblance of a run defense, I know you're 7th round pick, but I just do not like that. That's not what I want on my team. I give it a C. That grade could be lower, but he is an athlete, and he is, getting used to that position still, that side of the ball still. So I don't dislike Stanley, but there are some very big problems that need to be remedied in coming years. And I think him playing on special teams will help him at least be more used to that and being in that situation. And maybe we can see Matt Rule and Phil Snow rock with that and make some well-needed improvements. But for the most part, I am not mad at what we see here. This is actually really good. There's only actually maybe 2 spots I would have deviated from what the Panthers did, but I can still understand why they made the choices they made. Overall, I gotta give this an A. You know what? A minus. I'll give it an A minus. An A means there was only slight room for improvement. I think there was a couple places he could have improved. I give this an A minus, but overall a very, very positive reaction from me for the Panthers. We are making a move that not just shows that we're trying to have a cookie cutter microwave season where we go from 5-11 to winning 9 or 10 games. We are proving we're trying to build something for the future. You need a foundation, and I think these are the kind of pieces that you need to have for the future. You're showing that in the next 2, maybe even 3 years, you will have players who are ready to produce, and we'll have a lot more cap room as well. I like these picks. I like what the plan is. I like where Rev Rule, Dave, and Marty Herney's head is at here. That's my thoughts. A minus overall. What are your thoughts on this draft? Did we hit? Did we not hit? Where did we miss? Where would you have deviated from the Panthers' plans? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.